friends of the interwebs. I am back. I should say, welcome my political friends of the interwebs. That is right. I am going to do a little politics. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't get some message from somebody saying, Colonel, you got to get back into the saddle, brother. There's things that are afoot in this country, and we need your guidance. Who am I to say no? Who am I to say no? Okay. I got a little something stuck in my throat. You have to bear with me on that. So it does feel good to be talking politics again. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. It does feel good. Where to start though? Should we start with Trump? Nah, we'll leave Trump for right now. We'll leave Trump. I did want to tell you guys something or talk about something that some of you will get a kick out of and some of you probably won't get it. But I just heard the other day, yesterday in fact, that Yahoo, they are in trouble. They're in ropes, and some say they are about done. They tried to spin off Alibaba, and for those of you who don't know, Yahoo owns a significant part of Alibaba. And Alibaba is essentially the Chinese version of Google. I would say the Chinese version of Yahoo, but they're infinitely more successful than Yahoo is. So, interestingly enough, they realized that the tax burden from that spinoff would crush them. It would just crush them. It wasn't doable. And, I don't pretend to understand the Chinese business model. I know that the government owns part of your company or something like that, and they definitely have controlling interest in it. But anyway, I'm not sure whose tax burden it was. I think repatriating that money was going to be an issue for them. Here's where I find it to be laughable or almost poetic justice. Because I do believe in poetic justice, and this is why I say that. If you've paid any attention to Yahoo over the last several years, really from their beginnings, you've noticed that they are an extremely left-leaning organization. They are basically, they were Bill Clinton's buddies, and now they're Barack Obama's buddies. Of course, ultimately in the end, I guess they didn't work that friendship as well as the boys from Google did. That's for sure. But every news article that you will find on Yahoo News is left of Castro. I mean, it's just horribly left-leaning garbage, totally garbage. And for the last few years, because it's truthfully one of my homepages, long story, won't get into it, but I was subjected to their left-wing nonsense, and I will freely admit that I'm easily suckered in. I like to keep an eye on what the lefties are doing. I do. Right now, you can't see it, but I can see it. Rachel Maddow is on my television. She's a left-wing nut, but I do enjoy watching her connive and spin and lie and all that good stuff. I like catching her in her lies. So yeah, I say good riddance to Yahoo. I just find it interesting, though, that you're talking about a bunch of liberals, I mean hardcore liberals that run Yahoo. And what's getting them in the end is taxes. That's why they could, because if they could have spun off Alibaba and dumped that money into the company, then, they might have been able to figure something out. I don't know. They haven't figured it out yet, but they might have been able to make something work. But it just, unfortunately for them, hey, it is what it is. And I say good riddance. And Yahoo, by the way, how they couldn't make it work is beyond me. They're the third most visited site on the internet, and you can't figure out how to make money. I'd say spend a lot less time shooting golf with Barack Obama and more time figuring out what the heck you're doing. I'm trying to by the way, I'm trying to go PG with my show. It's very difficult for me because the F-bombs come out so it's like I'm a carpet bomber when it comes to the F-bomb. Anyway, listen, let me see what we got going on here because I just popped up Drudge, and I like to go through Drudge to just kind of like touch on things that are happening. Oh, here's an interesting thing. The Muslim population in the United States is set to double by the year 2050. Look, I live in Toledo, Ohio. I know a lot of you think I live in Kentucky, and I have a home in Kentucky, but I'm primarily here in Toledo. So I'm about an hour south of the biggest Muslim population in North America, and that is Dearborn, Michigan. And Toledo, Ohio's got its share, more than its share of Muslims also, which, the only thing that's saving grace to me, and I don't care how this comes off, but the big
Europe has some particular challenges.
Oh, God.
And I said this today.
Barack
The United
Obama.
States
What's he spewing?
has one big advantage in this whole process.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that our law enforcement or our intelligence services, et cetera, are
I'm sorry.
so much better, although
Brock,
ours
shut the
are
hell
very,
up.
very good. And
Shut
I
the hell up,
think
Brock.
Europeans would recognize
Brock,
that.
how'd you get on my computer? Shut the hell up. See?
Our biggest advantage,
He's like a
maybe,
virus. I had to shut down this whole website just to get him to shut up. So here's my one saving grace, or at least as I see it, my one saving grace is that you don't typically shit where you eat. And so, considering this is their home, I'm hoping that they take that into consideration. At least it makes me a little bit more at ease when I go to a shopping mall. When I go to a shopping mall, it makes me feel a little bit more at ease. Oh, I know there's plenty of people out there right now. Oh, he's a racist. Oh, he's a bigot. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Look, I'm over it. I've said this before. I'm record of saying I am over being called a bigot. I'm over being called a racist. As far as I'm concerned, you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I no longer care. Because I know that the hammer that the left liked to wield is that hammer of racism, that hammer of bigotry. They love to point the finger. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You know what? No, I don't really care. You call me whatever you want. I know one thing. We've got a lot of Muslims in this country that we have no idea what they're up to. We have allowed immigrants to come to this country that were not vetted properly or at all. And before you argue that with me, okay, I'm sorry, but the woman, the wife of the terrorist number one, the wife terrorist number two, she came over here from Saudi Arabia. She was originally from Afghanistan. And she came over with a K-1 visa, which is commonly referred to as the fiance visa. And turns out that she had used a false or fake, a fictitious address. And we couldn't even catch that. So you can't try to tell me that I'm full of shit when I tell you that we have a lot of Muslims that are in this country right now that are up to no good. Now, are all Muslims bad? No, I think just like anything else in life, there's some good ones, no doubt about it. But at this point, I think that we have to err on the side of caution. So why don't I segue into Donald Trump? And because that's obviously the big news, and Donald Trump saying that he was calling for a halt on all Muslim immigration into the United States, or all Muslims entering, I don't think he said immigration, but all Muslims entering the United States until our leaders, our government, understands or figures out what the hell is going on. And that's, by the way, that last part is the part that you rarely hear the liberals talk about, the left-wing news people talk about. You rarely hear that. They like to focus on the fact that he said Muslims, and it's a religious test, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm sorry, but 19 hijackers flew two planes into the World Trade Center, flew another plane into the Pentagon. All of them, every single one of them, were Muslims. Okay, the minute that Buddhists or Hindus start doing things like that, we'll add them to the list of people that can't come in until we figure out what the hell is going on. Literally, we have a broken immigration system. We know that from the southern border. We're not going to talk about that today. Most people know what I'm talking about, but we have no clue how to protect our nation. I mean, the number one role of the federal government is for protection. When the colonies formed, the federal government was basically to coordinate protection for the colonies. And the states, once we won the Revolutionary War, that was the job of the federal government, was to coordinate the protection of the states. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not even close to being making that happen. It's actually sad. It's ridiculous. And what's even sadder is you're the president of the United States and you have the left, the Democrats, the left. Now, when I say Democrats, I want to put a caveat there. I'm going to revisit that in just a couple of minutes. But you have the left and you have the Democrats, the liberal, progressives, who just don't get it. They just can't. They just don't get it. It's truthfully, it's like they look at this as diversity for diversity's sake, or diversity. The ends justify the means type of thing. It's just ridiculous. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, "Look, what if the head of the Red Cross was to come out and give a press conference and say, we believe in diversity, and we believe in doing everything we can do to eliminate discrimination in our organization. So we've decided that we're no longer going to be requiring any questions about your health. We're no longer going to require you to submit to a blood test. We're not going to test for any bloodborne diseases because, after all, that would be discriminating. You can't ask somebody, and I've given my share of blood in my day. You can't ask somebody if they've been in Africa in the last 10 years. You can't ask somebody if they're homosexuals. You can't ask somebody if they've ever had hepatitis. You can't ask that because that's discrimination. If somebody that's HIV positive wants to give blood, or if somebody that has Hep C wants to give blood, how can we discriminate against that? That's just wrong. It's just wrong on every possible level, and so we're not going to do that anymore. And by the way, it's only a small percentage of blood donors that will be in that category anyway. It's maybe 2%, 3% of the people who donate blood might have hepatitis C or HIV. So no big deal, right? So if the head of the Red Cross was to come out and do that press conference, people would lose their freaking minds. They would literally lose their minds. I don't care who you asked. I don't care what medical association, what doctor, it wouldn't matter. They'd all say that's insane. It's an unacceptable risk. So why is it any different, okay, for us to say, hey, look, the overwhelming majority of terrorists that are killing Americans, thousands of Americans, in the last, several years, thousands of Americans have been killed overwhelmingly by Muslim terrorists. Muslim terrorists, not Hindu terrorists, not Shinto terrorists, not Buddhist terrorists, Muslim terrorists, Muslims. So, even if it is a small percentage that pose a risk, why is that an issue? Why is that something that we just can't, we can't, that's just bigotry. That's bigotry. You can't bring that up. That's bigotry. We need diversity in this country. We need to be able to let them all in. And that's not who we are as a people, which is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard out of all of it. It's not who we are as a people. I think Barack Obama, I want to say something real quick. One of the things that Barack Obama has said in regards to all of this that's been going on recently, he talks about the no-fly list, the no-fly list of people who are apparently able to buy guns, and he doesn't like that. He thinks that's crazy. It doesn't take a whole lot of common sense to understand where that can become a huge, huge problem. First of all, if you're on the no-fly list, if you're that dangerous, okay, why are you even running around free? Or at the very least, why don't you have constant, I don't want to say supervision, but constant, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but why aren't people watching you 24/7? Honestly, why aren't people watching you 24/7? And to me, that's just insane. But the thing about the no-fly list, it's rife with people who don't belong on it. There's really no checks and balances to it at all. And I'm sorry, but I have a real difficult time with a government agency, unelected government agency, deciding that I am not somebody that should own a gun. And that's really what it comes down to. So, for example, I make lots of videos, and I have made lots of videos calling out the Obama administration and the left. What if somebody, in charge of Homeland Security was to say, hey, look, this guy might be a little unhinged, man. We better keep an eye. We better put him on the no-fly list. I go in to buy a gun, and I'm denied. And I say, what are you talking about? I'm denied. Well, you're denied. How can I be denied? I haven't done anything. I've never done anything. I've never been arrested in my life. Well, you're on a no-fly list. Really? How the hell did that happen? No, we don't know, but somebody decided that you were dangerous. So now I've been denied my Second Amendment rights by some faceless bureaucrat that I have no idea. And then it becomes hell to even get off of it. Anyway, listen, I'm going to end it here. I don't want this video to be an hour-long video, but I will tell you guys that I will be doing more with politics. I will tell you why I support Trump coming up in the future, because I do support him. And, yeah, feels good to, it feels good to be back. I think that I'm going to leave you with a little bit of, yeah.